His name was Oleander Twist, and he came to Mesmoralia in 1624 with a question he couldn't answer. The question was, if I show someone the truth, and the truth destroys them, whose fault is that? He'd been a cartographer in the regular world. Not of geography, anyone could map land. Oleander mapped secrets. He'd worked for kings and queens, for the church, for wealthy merchants who needed to know what their enemies were hiding. He'd developed a technique. He could look at a person and see the shape of what they were concealing, could map the architecture of their lies, and then he'd draw it, create charts, diagrams, visual representations of hidden truth. He was very good at his job. Too good. In 1623, a duke hired him to map his wife's secrets, wanted to know if she was faithful. Oleander had looked at the Duchess, a kind woman, gentle, beloved by her children, and seen the truth. She'd killed her first husband, poisoned him slowly, had gotten away with it for 20 years. Oleander drew the map, showed every detail, every dose, every moment of calculated murder disguised as wasting illness. The Duke had his wife executed. The children, ages 6 and 9, watched their mother burn. And Oleander's soul, disgusted by what his talent had accomplished, quietly packed its bags and left during the night. He woke up hollow, functional, still able to map secrets. The skill didn't require a soul, only observation, but unable to feel anything about what he mapped. The guilt that should have crushed him, gone. The horror at what he'd done, absent. Just the cold understanding that he'd shown someone the truth, and the truth had destroyed an entire family. He'd wandered for a year, looking for somewhere that could hold him, somewhere that could contain a man who saw too much and felt too little. And then he'd found Mesmoralia, or Mesmoralia had found him. Part 2, the first tour. Oleander didn't mean to become a guide. He'd been exploring the underneath, the network of tunnels and forgotten spaces beneath Mesmoralia, because that's what cartographers did. They mapped unmapped spaces, and the underneath was fascinatingly unmapped. It changed, shifted, rearranged itself according to logic that wasn't geographical but psychological. He'd been down there for 3 weeks, making notes, drawing diagrams that tried to capture fluidity in static lines, when he encountered another person, a young man, maybe 20, wearing clothes from a century Oleander didn't recognize. Time moved strangely in the underneath. "Are you lost?" Oleander asked. "No," the young man said. "I'm searching." "For what?" "My sister's soul. She lost it to vanity, spent so long looking in mirrors that her soul got tired of being ornamental and left. A soul broker told me it might be down here, in the collection chamber." Oleander knew where the collection chamber was. He'd mapped it. "Follow me," he said. He led the young man through the shifting corridors, adjusting the route in real time as the underneath rearranged itself. He developed a sense for it, could feel when a passage was about to close. is hers?" the young man asked, overwhelmed. Oleander looked at him, saw the shape of his secret. He didn't really want to find his sister's soul. He wanted to find it and then decide not to return it to her. Wanted to punish her for being vain, for being loved by their parents more than he was. "Third shelf," Oleander said, pointing. "The rose-colored bottle." The young man approached it, opened it. The soul inside, his sister's soul, rushed out, tried to return to its body somewhere up above. But the young man grabbed it, forced it back into the bottle. "Not yet," he whispered. "You're not ready yet. You need to suffer more first." Oleander watched this with his empty eyes and felt nothing. But he understood. He'd shown the young man where the soul was, and the young man had used that knowledge to continue his sister's torment. He'd done it again, shown truth, enabled destruction. "You're a good guide," the young man said, sealing the bottle. "Thank you." And Oleander realized this was what he was now. A guide to darkness, a map to catastrophe. He might as well be systematic about it. Part 3, the professionalization. Over the next decade, Oleander refined his technique. He began offering formal tour, not for money. Money meant nothing to him hollow, but for the simple satisfaction of function. He was good at guiding, at navigating the underneath's shifting geography, at showing people exactly what they claimed they wanted to see. And people came, always came, the morbidly curious, the grief-stricken, the academically interested, the thrill-seekers. They'd heard rumors about the underneath, about soul collections and separation chambers and places where you could witness the mechanics of damnation. Oleander showed them all of it. He showed them souls in bottles, weeping with centuries of captivity. He showed them the separation chamber, where bodies and souls were torn apart for money. He showed them the guilt archives, where every sin committed in Mesmoralia was recorded and could be replayed. He showed them the fatting rooms, where people who couldn't exist in regular reality slowly became transparent, and he warned them. Every single tour, he warned them. 7 out of 12 of you will not make it back. This is not metaphor. This is statistics. They never believed him, and they were always wrong. Part 4, the first one he lost. Her name was Catherine, and she was the first person who didn't make it back. She'd come on his 17th tour, a scholar studying the nature of consciousness. She wanted to understand how soul and body could separate, what the mechanism was, whether it was physical, spiritual, or something else entirely. Oleander showed her everything, maybe too much. In the guilt archives, she'd asked to see her own record, to see what sins she'd committed that Mesmoralia had witnessed. "I don't recommend it," Oleander said. "I need to know for my research." So he showed her. The archives projected her sins onto a wall. She'd plagiarized her doctoral thesis, had stolen another scholar's work, claimed it as her own, built her entire career on a foundation of theft. She hadn't known Mesmoralia was watching. Hadn't known the city recorded everything. Catherine stared at the wall, at the evidence of what she'd done, at the truth of who she was. "No," she whispered. "No, that's not, I didn't." But the archives didn't lie. Her soul, already loosely attached from years of intellectual dishonesty, simply let go, rose out of her body like smoke, drifted toward the collection chamber to await bottling. Her body collapsed, hollow now, empty. Oleander caught her before she hit the ground. "Catherine," he said, "can you hear me?" She opened her eyes, empty eyes, hollow eyes. "I can hear you," she said. "I just can't care." She stood up, walked away, wandered deeper into the underneath. Oleander tried to follow her, but the underneath had already claimed her. The corridors shifted, separated them. When he finally made it back to where she'd been, she was gone. He found her 3 weeks later. She was standing in a corridor, staring at a wall. Had been standing there for 3 weeks. Her body had started to adapt, roots growing from her feet into the floor, her skin taking on the texture of the wall behind her. She was becoming architecture. "Catherine," Oleander said, "it's time to go back up." "I can't," she whispered. "I'm stuck. I'm part of the wall now. Then I'll help you." "No," she looked at him with her hollow eyes. "This is where I belong. I built my career on stolen foundation. Now I am foundation. It's appropriate." And Oleander, hollow himself, understood the logic. He left her there, and on the next tour, when someone asked what the figure in the wall was, he said, "That's Catherine." She took the tour and learned something she couldn't survive knowing. Now she's part of the permanent collection. Part 5, the accumulation. After Catherine, there were others, so many others. In his first 100 tour, he lost 127 people. Some, like Catherine, became architecture. Some faded into transparency, and then into nothing. Some got stuck in loops, endlessly repeating the moment they learned their worst truth. Some ran so deep into the underneath, they reached places Oleander couldn't map, places where even he couldn't follow. He kept records, drew maps of where each person was lost, marked the locations with their names and the dates and the reasons they couldn't make it back. The underneath became a graveyard of the morbidly curious, and Oleander became its caretaker. He told himself he was just showing them what they asked to see, that their destruction was their choice, that he warned them every single time. But sometimes, late at night, when the underneath was quiet, he'd visit Catherine's wall, touch the place where her face had been before it fully merged with stone. "I'm sorry," he'd say, and mean it, even though he couldn't feel it. Part 6, the transformation. It happened gradually, over centuries. Oleander started spending more time in the underneath than on Mesmoralia's surface. The tour became his entire existence. Wake up, lead a tour, watch people get lost, map where they ended up, sleep, repeat. He stopped leaving the underneath underneath itself was endlessly fascinating, always shifting, always revealing new horrors. And slowly, he began to change. His body started existing at multiple ages simultaneously, an effect of spending too much time in spaces where linear time didn't apply. You'd look at him and see a young man. Blink, and he'd be middle-aged. Blink again, elderly. Blink once more, a child. All of him existing at once, occupying the same space, flickering between states like a corrupted film. His memories became nonlinear. He'd remember tour that hadn't happened yet. Forget tour that had happened centuries ago. Time became a suggestion rather than a sequence. His connection to the underneath deepened. He could feel it thinking, could sense its moods, could predict its rearrangements before they happened. You're becoming part of it, one tourgoer observed, a perceptive woman who'd later choose to stay and learn guiding. The underneath, you're merging with it. Yes, Oleander agreed. Does that frighten you? I can't be frightened. I'm hollow. I can only observe that it's happening and accept it. What will you become when the merger is complete? Infrastructure, Oleander said. The same thing all the lost tourists become, just more gradually, more knowingly. Part 7, the purpose question. Around year 350, Oleander started asking himself the question again, the one that had brought him to Mesmoralia. If I show someone the truth, and the truth destroys them, whose fault is that? He'd been running tour for over 3 centuries, had lost thousands of people, had watched them become walls, become loops, become warnings that no one heeded, and he'd done it systematically, professionally, with full knowledge of the consequences. Was that better or worse than what he'd done to the Duchess? He'd destroyed one family through ignorance of the consequences. Now he destroyed hundreds of families, thousands, with full awareness. The question consumed him. He started experimenting, changed his warnings, made them more explicit, more horrifying, more detailed. You will see your worst self, he'd tell tour groups. You will learn truths about yourself that will make living unbearable. You will get stuck in loops of self-knowledge. You will fade. You will become architecture. And I will mark where you ended up and tell the next tour about you. And they will not learn from your example. Still they came. Still 7 out of 12 got lost. He tried refusing to lead tour. Stayed in the deep underneath, hiding from new groups. But they'd come anyway. Would descend without a guide. Would get lost faster, more catastrophically, in worse ways. At least with him guiding, some made it back. At least he could mark where the lost ones ended up. At least there was documentation. He resumed the tour. Part 8, the answer. The answer came in year 389 from a woman who'd chosen to stay. Her name was Helen, and she'd been a museum guide before Mesmoralia. She'd seen what Oleander did, leading people into darkness, watching them break, continuing anyway, and instead of judging him, she'd asked, "Why?" "Because someone has to," Oleander said. people will explore it. If there's no guide, they all get lost. With a guide, at least some survive. But you could stop, Helen said. You could refuse. And then the underneath would create another guide. Someone less skilled. Someone who'd lose 9 out of 12 instead of 7. Someone who wouldn't keep records or mark where people ended up or warn them explicitly. Oleander stared at her. You understand? I'm a guide, Helen said. I understand that showing people things they aren't ready to see is part of the job. That some people will break. That you do it anyway because the alternative is worse. So whose fault is it? Oleander asked. When I show someone the truth and it destroys them. Everyone's and no one's, Helen said. Their fault for choosing to look. Your fault for showing. The truth's fault for being unbearable. The world's fault for creating people who need to know things that will kill them. That's not an answer. No, Helen agreed. But it's the best we get in Mesmoralia. Shared culpability, distributed across everyone involved. No one person bearing all the weight. And Oleander, who'd spent 389 years carrying the weight alone, felt something shift. Not his soul returning. That was long gone, bottled somewhere in the collection chamber. But something else, a different kind of weight, the weight of shared burden. He wasn't alone in this anymore. Helen would learn, would become a guide, would help him carry the responsibility of leading people into darkness. And maybe, eventually, there would be others, a whole network of guides, all of them sharing the impossible weight of showing truth to people who couldn't survive it. Part 9, What He Became. By year 400, Oleander Twist was no longer entirely human. He existed at multiple ages, simultaneously young, old, middle-aged, child, elderly, all flickering in the same space. He could navigate the underneath instinctively, his body responding to its shifts before his mind registered them. He'd merged enough with the infrastructure that he could feel when someone entered the underneath anywhere in the network, could sense their curiosity, their fear, their inevitable trajectory toward being lost. He was part of the permanent collection now. But unlike Catherine and the others, he was still mobile, still functional, still serving his purpose, still guiding. What are you? A tour-goer asked him once. You're not human anymore, not entirely. I'm a function, Oleander said. A role, a necessary piece of infrastructure. The underneath needs a guide, and I've fulfilled that purpose so long I've forgotten how to be anything else. Could you stop if you wanted to? Oleander considered this. Tried to imagine not leading tour, not descending into the darkness, not warning people who wouldn't listen, not marking where the lost ones ended up. He couldn't imagine it. The guiding was what he was now, had been for 4 centuries. Without it, he'd just be another hollow man in a city full of hollow people. At least this way, he served a function. At least this way, The lost weren't forgotten. At least this way, some people made it back. No, he said finally. I couldn't stop. I'm infrastructure now. And infrastructure doesn't choose. It just exists. It just serves. Epilogue, the eternal descent. 400 years after Oleander Twist first descended into the underneath. The tour continued. Every twilight, 12 new people gather at the entrance. Curious, certain they're different, convinced they'll be the ones who make it back. Oleander greets them, flickering between ages, his smile empty but practiced. Welcome to the soul-searching tour, he says. I'm required by Mesmoralia's Bureau of Existential Tourism to inform you that this tour is rated extremely hazardous to your sense of self. Proceed at your own risk. Behind him, Helen stands ready, learning, preparing to become what he became. And deeper in the underneath, in the walls and corridors and forgotten chambers, Catherine and all the others who didn't make it back. Still there, still processing, still serving as warnings. Oleander leads the new group down. He knows that 7 of them won't make it back. Knows which 7. Can already see the shape of their breaking in the way they walk, the questions they ask, the secrets they carry. But he leads them anyway, because that's his function, that's his purpose, that's what he became when he spent 400 years showing people truths they couldn't survive. Not a man, not a soul, not even a hollow shell wearing human shape. Just infrastructure, just the guide, just the one who descends again and again into darkness that never quite claims him because he's already claimed. In Mesmoralia, some people become architecture. Oleander Twist became something else. He became the pathway, the descent itself, the question embodied. If you show someone the truth, and the truth destroys them, whose fault is that? Everyone's, no one's. The guides for showing, the truths for existing, the curious for looking, and the cities for containing all of it. Oleander Twist leads another tour into the underneath. 7 won't make it back. They never do. And he'll mark where they end up and tell the next group about them. And the next group won't listen. They never do. That's what makes them the morbidly curious. That's what makes him necessary. That's what makes him infrastructure, forever descending, forever guiding, forever the answer to his own question. Whose fault? His, and everyone's, and no one's, and the truths, and the darknesses, and Mesmoralia's for existing at all.